we'll call the meeting to order.
All right. Excellent. Let's do
12:05.
Right here.
roll call, police. Bobby Lovins,
Here and present.
Brian Ford,
Here.
Mayor Garrett is absent. Scott McKee is absent. Fred Prime,
Here.
Pam Schreier,
Here.
Charlotte Jones,
Here.
and Dan Zug is also absent. So you have a quorum, but we do need a motion to excuse Dan, Kelly, and Scott.
I'll
Because
make a
I did
motion.
hear from all of them.
Yeah, did they call you?
Yes.
I'll be happy to make a motion.
I second
All right. Motion's been made. Yeah, I was pulling it up right here. Oh, you got yours there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright. Excellent. Alright.
All right. What first item? Agenda. Approval of agenda.
I'll make a motion,
motion
to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Moved. Seconded. All those in favor?
it. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion carries. Next, approval of the minutes. I guess from our last meeting was 6/22.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been
Okay.
a while,
Yes,
right?
it has.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All right. Motion to approve. Support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion carries. Financial review.
Okay, there's not much going on because we've only had the 2 months, July and August, so we're pretty good with our budget. I am waiting on the audit report to come back. They just are finishing up the paper, or finishing up some things with fixed assets and things like that. So, and once they get that done, then they will be submitting back to us, and then you guys will have a report. I'll give you a full report on the audit once I get that back. And it will have to go to council for approval, or just to be filed too. So they will take it to council. So, but if you have any questions on either report for July or August, I mean, I'm happy to answer them.
Well, I always want to know, what do you want us to see? What's the main thing that you want us to take a look at or be aware of?
If you look at the revenue and expense report,
For which one?
it doesn't matter. July, August, it doesn't matter. And you look at the year-to-date balance,
Okay.
that's the column you want to really look at. Because like right now, your revenue, it says you have $1,308. That's your interest so far for the 2 months. And then we have an expenditures of $21,000. So right now, it would look like you're at $19,000 overspent, but you haven't received any of your tax money in there yet.
Which page is which?
I'm on July.
Page, actually?
Yeah, I'm at the July one. And then it's just the
Page
revenue
5.
and expense report, page 5.
Okay. Got it.
So if you look at that third column tells you a lot.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the budget used, that is the very last column. That also tells you a lot of
Percent, yeah.
information to say where you're at with your budget. So you think about January, you should be about 50% of your budget, or on your items. If you're like if you're at 50% now, then you gotta,
Yeah, then you
for
got a
the
big
next
problem.
Yeah, you got
yeah,
issues,
problem. So
And when do you think all the revenue will be finally
You don't get the
Because you've been busy with the audit.
no, the revenue, you won't get that until the settlement is done because we're still collecting taxes until
Oh,
March.
still collecting.
We collect till March, and then I have to do the settlement. Or
Okay.
February 28th is our last date. Then I have to do the settlement, and then I have to wait for their check to come. I mean, you guys will get some revenue in. There will be some revenue dwindling in, but not the big
The kahuna.
lump sum that usually comes.
Question on the due to the general fund, the 216,000. This is on page 4.
Yes.
I guess we have that, and then it carries over on a couple of other pages. I'm just was trying to reconcile.
They just,
you know,
it just has to be carried over, or it has to go to the general fund. So
216,000.
because your account is, the checks are cut out of the general fund, and that's what that is when we cut a check for sidewalks, or when we did the sidewalks, which was a big check, then it goes to a due to. The money has to go to the general fund because the general fund paid for that expenditure.
Got it.
And it's the DDA's expenditure. So we have different funds that, do that, like our major and local road funds, those go into the different, they have to have due to, due froms.
So we don't have our own checking account, in
No,
other
we do
words,
not.
to save a fee or something, so even though we
No,
have
you
our
guys
own-
have never had your own checking
No,
account.
we've
It's
never
all-
had it,
yeah.
exactly.
You have a savings account, or a trust account is what you have. All your money is in a trust account.
Right, but the paying of these, okay, so then, do we ever see anything that we can then reconcile? Is there, and it's probably in here, I just, don't know how to read it totally accurately probably, where like you owe 200 grand to the general fund, where on here do I have to go back into past budget amendments to see so that the two reconcile?
Well,
and add them up
that
that way?
amount's gonna change all the time. That due to, due from changes every month.
Yeah, so it would change every month.
So it could zero out if I were to go to your account and transfer the money from your account to the general fund,
Right.
which I'm gonna do, then that would
It would zero
out.
out, but where do we say we voted in 200 grand for the, we did many projects, I get that, sidewalks,
Oh, no,
all sorts of
well,
things.
you wouldn't vote in, that would be your revenue expenses, what your
Right.
expenses are being paid out of.
So you look on page 5 and the things that you have budgeted in here.
That's
for
what I'm saying,
salary.
budget is what I'm saying.
Yes,
That's what the
that's on
Budget,
page
yeah, you
That's on
guys are
page
using
five.
the fancy word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we did sidewalks, where I'm trying to tell
Yeah,
you all
and that
in
would
my
be
head.
budgeted within your amount,
Gotcha.
like the $505,000. That's gonna be where your, the repair and maintenance, that's where sidewalks.
Repair and
Yeah.
maintenance is what you're calling
Yeah.
it. But the two might never totally match.
Mm-mm. No, because the general could owe, which we do, the general, because all the money goes into the tax account for
Right.
the DDA. So when the money comes in, then you guys have a due to, the general fund has a due to the DDA, because we have to transfer your tax money to that.
Right, I see, makes
So,
sense.
so they're both,
That's governmental accounting. It's a little more.
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
more.
is everybody understanding?
Confusing
Yeah.
because you have rules that you have to follow,
Right,
so
I'm
it has
sure,
to
yeah.
stay in funds, certain funds until the money is expended, and we show that that money then is due from
Right,
DDA
to make
into the
it
general
clean,
fund to be able
everything's square, in
to
other
balance
words,
that
for
out.
sure.
So you may have the 505,000 budgeted to spend, and it may not cost that. It may cost 495,000, or it may cost 515,000, and then you'd need to do a budget amendment to cover
that's
that
where our amendments
increase.
come in, that's interesting.
Yes, so
Okay.
it's just something that governmental accounting that makes our life or Pam's life so wonderful.
fun.
Well, it would
So
just be
much
so
fun.
easy since we did sidewalks, say 200 grand for sidewalks, and then we owe the fund 200 grand.
Yes.
Even Steven,
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah.
even
No,
Steven.
Yeah.
it's
It's
not that
ever
way
low
because,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it could be more. Usually it's very close to that or slightly under that. Sometimes it's more than that, but
Yeah.
that's what we hope to stick to is that budgeted amount.
Well, and then when we do payroll, when I'm doing payroll, I'm doing budget amendments in payroll because I have to do journal entries.
Right.
Or not budget amendments, journal entries. So when I
Right.
do the journal entries, those create due to, due froms.
For sure.
Because
Makes
you're,
sense.
you're saying they get paid out of the general fund, so you gotta say, you owe me this much for fringes, so I have to move that to the general fund.
Exactly, totally get that.
So that's how the due to, due froms
Gotcha,
work.
thanks for that, I
Oh,
appreciate it.
not a problem.
Okay, so then my question, when I look at the 203, again, just so I can reconcile how this is reported here.
Okay.
So we have, and when compared to last year, the total, the ending fund balance was, again, in July of 21, 1.6. And this July, it was the 1.3. And is that a result of netting out the 203 and I guess another 11 or so from the net revenues expense versus expenses for the current year? We had a 19 net outflow versus last year. We had an 8 net inflow plus the 203 outflow. Is that how we're reconciling that number?
Yes,
Okay.
if
Okay.
I understand.
You understand what I'm saying? Because I guess what I'm getting at, when I look at the trust at the very top, the trust account balance looks roughly the same,
Right.
right? At
Mhm.
1.3.
Right.
And then
But you guys
when we go to-
decided to take out more money last year to do the
Correct.
sidewalks. and
Correct.
So, yeah.
So how was it?
So
I
it hit
guess-
it hit the fund balance, because if you don't get the money in your revenue, you're taking out of your fund balance.
Yes, but I'm saying, that was in 21? Because I could see if it was, 200,000 higher in 21 versus 22. I mean, when we took the money out, it was between 21 and 22, right?
22, actually, it was the spring, wasn't it, 22, mostly for the
Yeah.
sidewalks?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would think so.
So since the July of 21. So when I say it's, you got 1.3.
Oh, you're in July. I'm looking at August.
Oh, yeah, from July of 21. So when I see
Okay.
1.3 and then 1.3 in 21 and 1.3 in 22, it's roughly the same. So it's not
Right.
reflected there.
Mhm.
Is that accurate?
Well, that's your
Yeah,
just,
same.
the trust account, you're looking at the very beginning.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
That's the money you have in your trust account.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
if I take the 216,000 and move it to the general, which I'm gonna be doing, then that will bring down your fund balance. Or bring down your bank account,
'Cause the
actually.
revenue
It will bring
hasn't
down the
hit
bank account.
So that trust.
The trust account is your.
will go down 200,000.
Yep.
Right, and that's just not reflected here.
It's not
yet,
reflected in that yet.
because we haven't paid it to the general
Correct.
fund.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Swear.
Now I understand what you're.
Yes.
I was looking at the wrong sheet, so I was looking at August.
Yeah. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
any other questions?
What do we earn on the trust account?
I think we're at 2 point something right now.
2.something%.
Yep.
Now, is there limitations on investing any of that money?
You have some limitations, but not a lot of limitations. I mean, it's just, we have to go by an investment policy. I have to follow the investment policy that we had to put together.
The reason I'm asking is, I mean, we know we have a large amount earmarked for the Main Street, and we don't know when that's going to happen. Wondering if we could invest that in a more lucrative return account than what we are invested in if we're.
You probably could. Right now, the CD rates are going up, and so, but it depends on how long you want to go out for. I just went out for one that, and I got one coming October 1st from Michigan First. We have another one coming from there, so I will see what their rates are coming in. But I did back in May, I think, or June, my CD came, and I did a short-term one, like 3 months, because I knew the rates were going to go up, so I didn't want to invest it any
Right.
longer than 3 months
Makes sense.
to get that. And so then when the rate came in, it's like, yes,
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm going to take that rate.
Thanks, Pat.
Yep.
And we're Act 20 consistent, or are we under a different statute for that?
For
From an investment standpoint?
No, we are under
We
the-
are Act 20? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other?
So
No.
we just need a motion to, we should probably do 2 separate motions for each. But
Okay.
do a motion to receive and file the July reports, and then a motion to receive and file the August reports.
I'll make a motion to receive and file the July reports.
Second.
All right.
And well,
Support?
do you want to tag team that, or do you want them actually separately?
Let's do them
Separate,
separately,
because I'll make a
please.
motion for the second one then.
All right. Any support, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, oppose, motion carries.
And I'll make a motion to
August.
receive and file August.
All right. Made and support, no questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Committee reports.
Right. Britt, would you like to give us an update on where we're kind of at with, we haven't really, EV hasn't really met, but we did have a promotion. So Britt, would you like to give us kind of like a rundown of what we talked about yesterday in promotions?
Sure. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good.
Superb.
Superb. Happy Friday. So the promotions meeting was a success. We basically discussed a number of upcoming events that we have. As you know, in the past, We didn't do as great of a job as we could have getting the word out there. And that's really what we've been focusing on. The whole meeting was mainly about spreading the word sooner and more broad across Lathrup Village. We want everyone to attend these events. So what we have coming up, I'll just briefly let you guys know what we have coming up. Be expecting an email with more updates. We've got the cleanup, we've got a block party, we've got trunk or treat, we've got movie night, we've got the artisan market. We have a ton of things planned. The best way that everyone can help out is by sharing and inviting people. We're gonna pass out flyers, we're gonna get a ton of signage, banners, we're gonna get standard banners so that we don't have to keep buying new ones that have the events posted. So it'll just say movie night, it won't have a date. We'll have that stuff stored so that we can post these banners every year and start doing annual events and actually building a following for these things via the newsletter, social media, Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. So that was pretty much it with promotions, is promoting and getting the word out there and actually sticking to doing these events annually.
How are we doing on getting business email addresses?
So
And
I'm
making
actually
contact with those businesses?
I finally had time to comb through the constant contact contacts that we have, and a number of those emails have been removed from the people who are no longer in business. So to answer your question, we're constantly updating the database for the businesses. I've just gotten to do that because I've only been here, this is month 4. But that is what I'm working on pretty much the rest of August, is building that database and cleaning up constant contact because it's kind of been a mess. So yeah. But the businesses, we are working to get more
Or
involved.
like, you know, pound the pavement or something? for the
Yeah,
ones you
we,
don't have, right? What
yeah.
about that, right?
We definitely need to get out and this is something I've been saying to Brittany now that things are kind of settled down, at least in our little corner of the Lathrup Village world, right? Now that we've thankfully got Sue, you know, at the helm here, we're going to be able to
Take a breath.
we're going to take a
Catch
breath,
up, yeah.
refocus, and then really re-engage. And so, Britt's actually got something put together for the businesses and for the DDA board, just to go out and really have a more focused
Bigger
and
presence,
targeted communication to those businesses. And so we are going to have to start getting out there. And just re-engaging. Like I feel like I miss the businesses, right? Like I feel like I haven't really been talking to as many of them as I would like to. Should
Even though
whatnot.
we have established businesses, obviously, what this you'll think is a dumb idea, but maybe not. What about bringing the welcome kit that we had talked about in EV?
Yeah.
You know, maybe you have a hard copy or two for that odd person, but you can say it's available online.
Yeah.
Now, would they go to the trouble to go online, though? Maybe not. Maybe
I mean,
they
I
wouldn't.
think-
Maybe if you just give it to them in their hand, because that makes the case
I think
and
it's
the
better
cause
to give
for
it
the
to them
DDA.
in their
Right.
hand.
Even if they're an existing business, it's that big black hole of what is the DDA? What does the DDA do? How do I get involved? I know EV had worked on that to redo that, and then hit them up for their email address at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, is getting them involved in the events that we have planned, having them sponsor certain things, and really just kind of raising a dark cloud that's kind of been over LV as far as the relationship between City Hall
For
and
sure.
the businesses just in totality. That includes every committee, every person who works for the community. There has to be a more positive vibe
Yeah,
put out
vibe
there
is
in
a good
order to
word for
get
that.
businesses to want to even do anything with you. You have to show that you have that.
Yeah, raise
that-
the energy.
The energy has to be totally different.
Right.
And that's a process. And that is what Susie and I have been working on, is kind of rebuilding relationships that have been ruined in the past, to be quite honest. And I think that they're becoming more comfortable with what we're doing because of the positive energy that we're presenting and the positive events and the way that businesses can help. They can help. They can give things. They could invite people. They could send representatives. There are things that they could do, but they have to feel comfortable enough to do so. So it's a work in progress, but it's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Rome wasn't built in a day.
That's it.
right?
Although I wish it were.
That is it.
Dang
Boy,
it,
would we
Dan.
have so much to live up to, though.
Wait, so are we getting negative feedback?
I'm not going
Or
to
just-
speak on behalf of everyone, but the conversations that I've had with
Oh,
people,
yeah.
once again, remember, I've only been here since May. So there are a ton of things that I'm still learning, things that he say, she say. I'm not
Oh.
into that. I'm just into, I can kind of feel how people feel when I have conversations with them, and I'm just going off of that. When I talk
These
to
are the individual
business owners,
businesses that-
residents, kids, seniors. I've talked to all of them. I've been to homes of all kinds of people, and all that I could do is go off of the feedback and make my own opinion. I don't like to generalize. I don't want to do that. I just want to do my part and make people more comfortable engaging in what City Hall has
Would you
going on.
say then, based on that research,
Mhm.
that the businesses perhaps are a little bit more like, what's a DDA?
Yes.
Like, what is a DDA?
I
Why
love-
do I care that
People
there's a DDA?
people are not clear about what the DDA is, and they always want to know what is it. And I don't think that so much is the disconnect, because there are a number of titles that people don't understand, but they'll remember it if they know and understand what you're doing and how you're helping them. So if we make a greater presence, they won't forget what the DDA is or what whichever committee. And that's why we're kind of focusing on the promotional aspect.
I
and
see,
making
right,
them-
makes sense. Mhm.
Making them aware and more comfortable with.
To get the buy-in.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult now, especially considering, because we have to consider that businesses are going through transitions, staff transitions, financial transitions, businesses closing, management. Sometimes you don't know who to talk to. Sometimes they tell you to talk to someone and you should be talking to someone else. It's not black and white. So, but it's a process, and it's gonna be fine. That's the best way
Yeah.
I can put it.
Have you gone on the telephone more or in person more?
I'm not a phone type person.
You're more boots
an
on the ground,
I like
walking
to have
around.
conversations
Yeah, yeah.
with people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And the most feedback that I've gotten is they're not aware, and that's why it's important. It was important for us to meet with promotions, and for Susie and I to kind of hash out the fact
Yeah.
that people don't know enough, and we can't assume that everyone's getting the e-newsletter. We can't assume that everyone is online. So we've committed to having our volunteers and our boys to men, our young men, help heavily with promotion. We're printing a ton of flyers. We're posting flyers, signs. All of that will help moving forward with businesses, residents, and whatever else we have.
For sure.
going on. Yep.
Brittany, where are your banners going to be displayed?
So primarily we're not supposed to post on this corner, so we don't post them on this corner.
Right.
That corner on the opposite side of City Hall is where one of the banners will go. As far as the signs, we pretty much place them throughout the neighborhoods. If you have any recommendations for banners elsewhere, we really pretty much post them near City Hall. And the yard signs will go obviously in the residential areas.
That's what I think I've got it in I think it's in the budget for the monument sign to redo a digital message board, right? I need to technically I need to figure out how we can do that, right? Monument signs are actually not permitted in Village Center District, which is obviously where we're at. So I mean, so it would require requesting a variance, right? So I bring this up every once in a while with the city attorney, and it's like, I know. So like,
You said we're not allowed to do to
and we have one. Okay, let's be clear. The city has a monument sign right now. So
right.
so I the
the
messaging
digital
board
aspect.
would be a nice addition, because both where that banner goes and where this banner goes are not ideal, but.
What's the thinking that we can't put banners on that side of the street or that side of the building? What's
It's
that
too
all about?
close to
It's
the
just
corner.
it's too close.
The visibility.
For the cars?
Yeah, for the corners. There's it's called the clear vision triangle. You're not supposed to have anything within 25 feet on a corner.
Okay, so then I'm thinking of
So.
the people south of 696 that take an alternate route, because then you're making an assumption that my business is closer to Lincoln, let's say, and I'm taking
Yeah.
Southfield.
Very
Well,
good
not
point.
so fast. I mean, I
Right.
take 11 Mile for God's sakes, right?
Right.
Although I do like to drive by and see Pam's beautification from time to time. Okay, so could we, because we've got the grassy knoll south of 696, right?
I'm trying to picture where, because
Quite a
that's an
few grassy
excellent
knolls
idea.
as you're going towards Prime America,
Okay.
right? You have the grassy knoll on both sides of the street, frankly,
Yeah.
on the other side of the street. Here we have the culvert arama.
Yes.
There you have the grassy knolls, right? Okay, well, why couldn't we take the same concept of the banner that you're doing here within the city and
add
put
it.
one at that end? Because I feel bad for some of those folks.
Yeah.
Like, are they part of the same community? There's a lot of attention paid towards, you know, once you're 696 north,
Yeah, once you get to Lincoln.
you know, like
there's
what's
no-
going on down there for those folks? Because they too have a monument that says "Welcome to Lathrup Village,"
Oh,
etc.
yeah, that was
You know
my
what I'm saying?
initial
Right.
impulse.
But
to
then,
try
like,
to
where's
pair
the
it with
where's the
that.
bannering and the signage, and maybe taking advantage of the grassy knolls because they're quite high. They're probably 4 feet.
Yeah.
You know, so they're up
They're
in the
pretty
air a
big.
little bit. So if you had a big old sign up in the air, and I'm driving my car coming this way into the city,
Yeah,
You
'cause
mean-
that one's
or
hard to
people
see,
who take that route, you know,
Right.
from the lodge, let's say, into their office.
because this one here is the south, almost
That's
shows
for
for
the
the
Southfield
southbound.
peeps. That's the Southfield peeps, which
Well,
is
and
great.
it's
Glad
the
to have it.
southbound traffic.
And it's,
so,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
So you want something for northbound traffic.
That's a good idea.
That's a
And
good
just
idea.
and just really focusing, you know, like we're one community, we're only a mile, and what, you know, let's not cut off 50% of who we are.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
appreciate that.
Thank
Thanks for
you. Noted. Thank you, Bobby.
we'll get that added too.
Huh?
Okay.
I said we'll get that added too.
Yep.
So 2 banners instead of 1.
Right. No, I agree.
I just think you could put one by the monument and the grassy knoll at that end of town.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we can do that.
Any other suggestions? I mean, we
We
will
had,
take-
you know, we had in our committee the economic vitality, the committee pre-COVID. This is regarding the businesses and engaging the businesses. We had a plan to, actually it was just pre-COVID, and I think that tabled us, but to have
This was just
an
an idea.
event.
You guys never-
Yeah, no, we never, you know, you got to.
Did we? We didn't do it.
No,
We're all
remember
talking. No.
the
do.
event. We had the event
Yeah.
planned to. We had given. I think each of us were going to go out to certain businesses. This is us, you know, like the
Yeah.
board, you, me,
Mhm.
you know, the some of the board members to talk to the businesses, which you know we did a few, but to have them come in and have a. It wasn't a cocktail hour. I forget what you call it.
Social?
Yeah, it was something like that. It was something like a social to promote the the DDA, educate people on what we do, and do something similar to what remember that joint planning DDA deal that we did, where it was almost like kind of a survey with the residents and all of
Yep.
what people wanted, and so if we, I think we should revisit that, where we were going to educate folks on who we are, what we do, and then talk to them, about how kind of help we
Informational.
need. Yeah, exactly.
Drinks with the DDA was literally
Was that what it
going
was?
through. No, that's what was going through my mind yesterday.
And that might have been what it was called, but we couldn't do it because we even talked about the alcohol and
Uh-huh.
we can't do this. Or
So
Oh,
We're-
yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that?
The
Yeah.
Griffin Claw idea.
we've
forgot
been
about
talking
that.
about doing. So we do have to do our second informational meeting.
Mhm.
We have to have 2 of those a year. So Bobby and I have talked. And Pam was part of that conversation. Maybe all of us were part of that conversation. I think it was at the last informational meeting.
Yes, yes.
And we were talking about how we'd like to possibly do that.
Yeah.
Something similar for the informational meeting that we're planning to have in December.
okay.
Britt's actually looking into what are the requirements and parameters for
Yeah.
providing alcohol.
we
I mean, I
asked
don't.
that.
We have questions on the alcohol front, but
Which
I-
we
I
don't
mean, I-
necessarily.
we don't
need that, you guys.
necessarily
That was
need
just
it,
the
but,
idea.
Yeah, it was just thrown
um,
out.
Right.
But I mean,
You mean
free
the
drinks
alcohol aspect?
generally
Yeah,
tend to bring people.
Yeah, but
Right.
we're
It's
just
an
thinking of
enticement because
ways-
we were looking
yeah.
at an enticement.
Right.
Fred.
But generally, our next event that can accomplish this is in December. We're scheduling this for December.
December.
Yes, for
16th.
like December
For informational-
16th is going to be our informational
Okay.
meeting. So,
Make a push.
but I think,
maybe we
and
should
you
get
know, I
together
know
for evening. maybe.
Bobby's,
talk about
and we're getting a little off topic, but I know Bobby's talked about doing, previously, right? Talked about doing more networking, targeted networking for our businesses.
Yep.
And I really think that we need to start getting
It's kind of
back
two things
into
mushing
the-
together. Yeah.
into our things that we do, right? Is
Right.
making sure that we have that. And
Because we don't
Bobby
have
doesn't
the-
know it, but I'm gonna be using Bobby a little bit
Okay,
more.
but Fred just gave me an idea based on what Brittany said. Does anybody want to hear it? I know you
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Okay, so if we say, oh, please come to our thing, and then nobody shows up, right?
Right.
And then we say, oh, please promote your business at our thing, and nobody does, right? But nevertheless, we're persevering and we're going to continue on and we're having movie night by God, right? Okay, so you got all these little sundry activities. Okay, remember when we were together at the thing that nobody showed up at? And we were talking about the Santa house in Birmingham, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I see a booth. Well, the Santa house is quite large, but it's a booth. I'm just thinking a booth, okay? What if at every single event we had a DDA booth? It doesn't need to be manned. It can just be information only. But as the business owner, my thing is, what's in it for me? I get to promote my business. What's in it for me? I get to put out my tablecloth with my logo on it. Who cares? I'm not going to get anything back. So the businesses don't see any value, is what I'm saying. And that's not true. We have a sign grant. We have a facade grant.
They also don't take
We have
advantage.
55,000 cars a
Sorry to
day.
cut
We have a
you
lot
off.
of jazz that you should be part of the city and involved, right? Okay, so what if we had an unmanned, because nobody wants to sign up to man it, I get that, right? Informational only, but it's at every event. It's the DDA corner, kind of like the Santa house, but it's close enough to the people that they're forced to walk by it. They're forced to engage so that they're without excuse, right? In learning about, there's money in it for you. You can redo your facade. You can upgrade your sign. There's something in it for you. You can successfully promote your business, right? So I'm saying,
No,
I'm kind of seeing it as
absolutely.
like the perpetual Santa house, but
No,
it's just like
yeah.
a bedrock of everything we do. What is
Yep,
the DDA?
absolutely.
What do we do? What do we stand for? How are we using your tax dollars? What's in it for you as a business?
Yeah.
Even something as simple as like we're trying to make a vision, we're trying to make it beautiful. Didn't you see our flower pots, for God's sakes, right? Self-promotion and the stuff that we're doing.
So
Yeah.
people, you think people would pick up a flyer? Is that what would be
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
Yeah, well, at the concert series, we had a booth set up with information for people to grab. We also had Jamar, who would offer different services for businesses to help with.
Yeah, Jamar's gone missing.
Yeah.
Get to that.
Which is why
Oh,
I brought
okay.
him up, because even though there are certain resources that he had available for businesses, I guess I'm trying to think of a more interactive way to get
For
them.
sure.
You
I
know,
would love
it's
that
just-
in a perfect world.
Because even so, like you're saying, if we give them this information and we print out all this stuff, most of the time these people are going to throw it in the garbage, or they'll,
Right,
or they'll
because
brush
the
over
concert
it.
series is very residential centric. You don't have
It
business
is.
owners there.
It is, and I understand that. So what I was saying earlier about handing the businesses things in person and actually talking to them and
Right.
having a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely that. But to your point, at every event we should have a
can
booth
have
set
it,
up. We should have a table
Well, we
set
can do
up.
it. We can do
you
both.
know.
I mean,
Oh,
I'm
for sure,
100% with
for
you.
sure,
It's-
Fred.
it's an
Absolutely.
in-person
Totally.
engagement.
Yeah.
with
Because
somebody,
people-
For sure.
Unfortunately, they don't like to read literature that. If
Right,
wanna
you've
hide
got to
something,
make
you
it
wanna put
cheeky.
in
You've got to
boring
make it
literature.
cheeky
Yeah.
enough
Yeah, so I
So-
think
that they
that's
go, oh, I
You
can,
go.
you know, what's in it for me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
that's just really the tug of war, is trying to figure out how to make people comfortable in receiving certain information. How can I make you enjoy receiving this information? And I think that I was relying a little bit more on Jamar in his titled position to handle that, but his hands are way too, he's too busy
Gotcha.
to build personal individual relationships with these businesses. I will actually have make time to do that. Eye contact, here's some paperwork, here are some resources to help with your business plan. Do you have a business plan? Because more than half of them probably don't. You know what I mean? These are things that are concerns that we've definitely tried to figure out.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yep.
Hey, before,
I'm sorry. I know I'm not on the board, but I do have a question.
Sure.
Have you guys ever tried doing a business owners meeting, trying to do like
yeah.
in the morning or in the evening, something that is maybe at a restaurant or in the community center
Right,
that
hence
you
the
bring
alcohol.
pizza? Well, even
Yeah, that was
something
part
like
of the plan. We
That
had
was
to.
the intent. We
that
were
was
gonna do like
the
a Griffin Club
intent of
brewski
that.
hour.
A
Yeah.
brewski hour? Okay, I see what you're saying. Because
'Cause they won't
I guess
come.
in my mind, what I'm hearing you guys say is that your business owners want to know what the added value is for them to be a part of the DDA, but they need that educational component for you as the DDA to tell them what their
Right, but they
benefit
don't
is.
need to stay in the game to get their question answered.
Right. So, okay. So
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? So we're here, so self-promote is what I'm saying, Deborah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And
It's self-promote. I mean, I think it's us getting out to you. You know, to the extent all of us can help with that.
Right.
To engage, and then they'll be more inclined to do it because again, they're not going to read. I mean, half of them probably won't.
Yeah.
If they don't have some kind of.
Have you
personal
looked
connection.
at it as a
Realistic,
board
right.
of how you can kind of divide up your businesses that you have here, and you have groups of 2 or 3, 4 people that go together and start talking one-on-one with your business owners, just engaging in that way
Mhm.
additionally? So,
Yeah, that was in our committee. We
Uh-huh, we
had
talked
that. I know
about
we divided up some, but yes, to your point. But that
Awesome.
is the way
Okay.
to go about it.
yeah, and please
opinion.
utilize me any way that I can help you guys
Mhm.
too, because I really want to be engaged with the community. So.
Well, to be careful, we'll take you up on it.
Please do, please do. It's,
No,
it's important.
no worries. When we get the when Scott, when we get our next I'm anticipating for the next that we're gonna need someone to fill the vacant seat that we have, and Scott, and we're gonna do the switcheroo
Yep.
for you guys. So no worries, you're gonna get roped in.
All right.
All right.
All right, one last thought about the banners. What about for people who live west of here and drive 12 mile to work? They may not turn down Southfield Road to see our banners, but what about the DPS boneyard property there? Could we put a sign on,
Yeah.
So
on
not
12
2
mile?
banners, 3.
Ooh.
Yeah, right, the list
Yeah.
grows.
Because, I mean,
That's a good point, Pam.
You mean right before the high school, right?
Yeah, right, so just as they're entering basically Lathrup Village on that side,
Mhm.
they saw a sign, maybe.
All right. Thank you.
I was going to say, at any entrance point that you have into the city.
There you go.
On 12 Mile and 11 Mile on both ends, and then Southfield on both ends.
There you go.
Is where you need to have that signage, because you want to be capturing that traffic that crosses that.
Yep.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I do get a lot of feedback about people saying they didn't know, I didn't know, and we can't have that anymore. So, much needed feedback. Thank you, Pam. So we're gonna need more than 3 banners.
Yes.
Fun.
Yeah,
Right.
6 probably.
right.
Where are we, Fred?
We're still in the community report. So we've gone through the events, past events.
We really didn't discuss.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't discuss the past events or the
Oh yeah, we're in the
property commercial business and property updates.
Yeah, that's the with the CED report. So
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yep. So we're so Brittany touched on the events that we have going on. With the businesses, I mean it's like paint dries faster than BP, but they are making headway at that BP project. I swear they are. I talked to their sign guy today. Okay. Yep. Paint dries faster. So does molasses. But they're moving forward. Things are still moving ahead with the Panera planned unit development. You may remember. I guess it's been a little bit since we talked about this one. So they've gotten all their planning approvals. They've gotten the bulk of their approvals from council. Really the last step in terms of the approval checklist is having city council approve the development agreement. So we're just doing some final tweaking. Staff and Panera Cerno team, we're tweaking that before it goes to council. I'm optimistic it will go at the end of September for that, and then we'll start seeing them demolish the bank and move, and, you know, they're gonna start moving forward with the rest of the engineering and the building and whatnot. So that's moving forward. I know they're already starting to field inquiries for the soon-to-be vacant, or the soon-to-be vacant existing Panera space, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But, so that, I mean, that's positive, right? They've already started to move forward in that regard. So, so stay tuned. Kind of related to vacant spaces, but since they are, you know, they're owned by the same, Ruby Lee's Honey Butter Chicken and Shrimp is gone. They went out of business.
Wow, that was
So
short-lived.
We hardly knew you.
That was
short-lived,
super
right?
short-lived.
Super short-lived. I did talk to their leasing guy over there at Cernal, and they were over leveraged and it just wasn't working out for them. So they're back at it to try and find somebody else. I've been collecting suggestions. I've heard a lot of, can't we just have like a normal like brew pub kind of place that serves normal American food? And so that's one suggestion. So if anybody's got any suggestions,
Okay, was
let me know
that
and I'll tell 'em.
was that Ruby's a family owned? Was
Yes.
that a corporation?
That
was it a regional?
independent family owned?
Oh, it was.
Yeah. So
Oh,
that business owner has 2 other restaurant locations. So this was just which are different. They weren't Ruby Lee's. They were one was a breakfast brunch place, and the other place was like more of a sandwich shop. So this was different from their other endeavors. Just didn't work out.
and he's
So
trying to fill it with restaurant because I would think still
yeah, I mean, all the kitchen's
scaled
still
out
there,
for
don't
kitchen.
dismantle
Right.
the
He's not
kitchen,
dismantling
right?
the
So,
kitchen. Right, and is he putting feelers out himself? Obviously, Cerno is.
Yeah. So, but and they know. I mean, they did the survey earlier this year. Like, you know, what would Lathrup Village residents like to see? And the resounding feedback was, we want food and beverage places. Like, that's what we would like to
What do
see.
you mean by beverage?
Food and beverage being beer, wine, alcohol. Alcohol is what
Would that
people
work
like
in
to
that
see.
location?
Sure.
Because it's a strip mall.
Sure. There's
Works
Like
You
with
can have a
Brady's.
brewery in a
Yeah, I
strip
was
mall.
gonna say Brady's is in a
Sure,
strip
why
Yeah,
not?
Brady's up there. Yeah.
there's all kinds of
I think that's
places.
weird. Do you don't think that's weird?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a store, but it's a brewery. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean,
Right.
there'd be hoops they have to jump. Any place that wants to serve alcohol at this point will have some serious hoops to jump through, but that's okay.
Okay, so
Permitted.
as a DDA, could we help Sir now with the sidewalk facing eatery? Like Olga's technically wanted to do that, and Olga's got poo-pooed with that, and so they said, well, then we won't. They got
With
a little bit of an
like a-
attitude.
like a
And
patio
Olga's
kinda
has those
deal?
big flower pots now where they could have had the outdoor
Oh.
seating, right?
Yeah.
We need outdoor seating. We're being eaten up. No pun intended. Ferndale, you know what I'm saying? Royal Oak, obviously, right?
You referring to their outdoor
Yeah,
seating
yeah,
they
yeah.
have? Oh, yeah.
Clawson
They have
too,
it
if
there.
you drive
And
to
Clawson now,
they
Clawson is
really
shocking.
boom.
Berkeley
It's-
closed
And
streets.
Berkeley, yes.
Mhm, sure
And,
have.
you know, we're really, I'm not saying we're making it difficult for Jagged Fork. It is what it is. It's the reality of the situation where they are. I get that, right? But boy, wouldn't that be nice to knock out that street? I know we need parking. I'm talking on both sides of my mouth, right? And just have, you know, cafe and white lights and,
I know. And
Right.
we have talked. Before they even redeveloped, redid that facade.
it's a good looking facade.
That we talked about them. There's space just to the north, just to the north of that restaurant space, enough room to do.
So
a
could we
patio.
as a
So they-
DDA say to the planning commission, because they'd have to get approval, I would think, that the DDA strongly encourages this?
Yeah, we can do that if that's something that they would like to pursue. I mean,
Right,
I mean,
assuming that the business wants that, right?
right. I mean, it's always an option. So yeah, we could certainly.
Mm-hmm.
That could certainly be something the DDA chimes in on and says, hey,
In
yes.
terms of the ordinance and what folks are allowed to do. Right.
Right. I mean, and they
Yeah.
can't. There's parameters for the zoning parameters, but
Yeah.
they're not insurmountable. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So there's that. Discount Tires doing some work. Infrastructure projects. I know it's painful this year, you guys. It's painful. But we're plugging along. We're moving forward. We're so close to the end of construction. We're so close. We're so close. We're so close.
Only 2 more years
Wait,
to
do we
go.
have it next time too?
So we're ASI is the paving company. The alleyway looks nice. Once we open everything, I want everybody to bust out the roller skates and start roller skating around, right? So our projects are moving forward. 12 Mile, I'm sure you guys have all seen. If you haven't, drive past it, or better yet, take your bike and ride on. 12 Mile looks fantastic. So we've got plugging along. We're making progress on our DDA goals for alleyways and approaches. City Works going to.
Is this updated, or how regularly is the progress updated on the website so that folks would know?
On the website, there is, then the city's got an infrastructure page for residents, right?
Yeah.
So the GIS map that's in there, that's updated once a week.
Okay.
And then there is the weekly update. I guess as the word to say, weekly update in the e-newsletter.
Okay.
We get an update every
So,
Thursday,
weekly.
Friday, and that goes out
Okay.
to everybody. That's I'd say the weekly update that goes out in the newsletter is probably the most detailed.
Out of
Okay.
curiosity, does everyone get the newsletter?
Oh, yeah. Multiple
The
times.
email. Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just making sure.
Okay.
You
Okay.
said multiple times.
So
Okay, I'll
and
fix
I'd
that.
clean up that constant contact.
I'm working on it.
Well, because there's multiple business, it's like
Yeah.
there's like multiple lists within that.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
And just like as a heads up, I'm going to be going to the Michigan Association of Planning conference. That was really hard for me to spit out there for a second. October 10th through 12th, or 12th through 14th, I'm sorry. So that's Wednesday through Friday. It's up in Mackinac, so I'll be doing that. And then I did go to a volunteer management thing through Oakland County, and it was fantastic. I got all kinds of information. So Evie,
The one on the volunteer, yeah. We
Yes,
went to that a
it
couple
was-
years ago. It was good.
it was a different
Different
one.
Okay.
And there is another one. I just met with Annika last week, and there's going to be another training, I want to say in January, February, and it's going to be like a leadership kind of development one. So you guys all need to go. So, but I'll have more
Yeah,
information
send it out.
about that
Sure,
as soon
sure.
as they get it to me. So that's
All right.
kind of it in a nutshell.
I have a question.
Yeah.
On me. On the CEL thing, would you be able to tell us who is the proud owner of 27252? What business is that? On the code enforcement. I thought you were gonna go through that.
Oh, yeah, 27252. Our very first one, right? You have to flip it over
Yeah, right
for
on,
all
Doug.
the meat and potatoes. That
Yeah,
one.
but what business is that?
That's our property owner that is suing the city, right? Our, those
Gotcha.
the owner
Yeah,
of the
makes sense.
Yeah.
I kind of made that as an assumption.
Yes.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So that's that one. And yeah, I guess I'll just
Oh, that's
dive
the
right
same.
into we will. Here.
Do we need to
Chris,
approve anything before, do we need to
Nope.
approve the committee before going on? Okay.
Nope. Just kind of FYI that that lawsuit is we're still moving forward.
progressing.
I've been
Are we still subject to it?
I've met with our side of it through mediation. The attorneys have met. We will be doing a joint meeting with City Council. I have been waiting to get some guidance from the attorney representing both the city and the DDA in this case as to like, when should we be meeting? And we've been kind of waiting on a couple
It's
of.
been over a year.
It's been a long
Yes,
time,
easily.
and so I've just been waiting for guidance from him on when is the most appropriate time. Because there was a long time where there was no outward information. So I will circle back from him. I just got some communication from him within the last week, I think it was. So I will circle back to him about setting up a joint meeting for all of us. So stay tuned. Joint closed session. Let's be real clear on that one. So, but going into code
No,
enforcement.
I would say that's because it's the attorney-client privilege. That's why it's a closed session, right?
Yes, absolutely.
For people that are watching this on television.
Yes. Thank you for that clarification. So included is the code enforcement reports. I think we talked about it in June that we had some improvement that we wanted to see from Rami, and then shortly thereafter, he was released from his position here at the city. And we have had Remy, let us not be confused, Remy has stepped up and stepped into the role of temporary code enforcement officer. She is a police officer here at in the village, and she's currently pregnant. So this is we're able to offer her our version of light duty. Right.
Right, how many more months though until we, not
Let's go
3
for
weeks.
3 weeks.
What's our mitigation for that then? What's the plan?
There's a position out there, the posting is out there, the opening is out there for seeking applicants.
I should apply.
If you would like to do that, right? But then you would have to relinquish your role on the board.
Come and see.
But Remy's been doing fantastic, and I keep telling her if she would like to remain our code enforcement officer, I'd be thrilled. I would be thrilled. That's not what she wants to do, but she's been fantastic. She's been doing exactly what we wanted, which is talking to people,
Right.
having conversations. Let's not just issue a citation
Right.
or a warning or a violation and then just be like, and just drop it. Like, she is actively communicating. She is doing her best to answer questions, address concerns, and just make it very clear as to what the expectation is. So, so it's been going well. I hope I've pulled the report correctly because I was having fun trying to tool around with that. But I know I'm sure there's probably a lot more activity that she's been doing that is not contained in this report, like just more conversations. So
When we hire somebody ultimately, I think we should do something in the newsletter to introduce this person as an asset to the community. I mean, he had such a negative reception, and frankly, he brought it upon himself with the way he communicated with folks. And a lot of people don't like code enforcement, but it's a necessary thing, and it's for the betterment of the community. And we should be talking about how wonderful this person is to have in this community to ensure that it remains beautiful, and
Get ahead of it.
bring the hostility
Yes.
level down, because it was every interaction I know of my friends and neighbors who've talked to me about their involvement with him, I didn't hear one positive, and it was simply because of communication, and that's a sad thing. So.
I agree with that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, really good idea, Brian.
So we'll do that. So
Anything to accept from other business?
there's no old business.
Any old business, all right? New business?
New business. I'm actually going to let you take the lead on this, fine sir, since you are our illustrious leader, and I purposefully was not part of this conversation.
Correct. So we had a executive committee meeting recently and approved a pay raise for Susie. So you'll see in the notes here from 69 to 80, 69,000 to 80,000. This will be split 90-10 between the DDA and the city with a cost share agreement, and that was again decided in the executive committee meeting, and so we bring it to the body for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the pay raise.
I'll second it.
All right, it's been made. Support? Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion carries. Certainly, you know, we see Susie as an asset, and you know, as a board, we certainly want to be competitive with you know, what's out there, what other folks are paying, and certainly recognizing the value. So, again, certainly appreciate your work and your dedication, and you know, we're certainly happy that we could you know, provide this increase in your salary.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Round of
very much.
applause.
I really appreciate it. It's gonna make me turn as red as my hair. Seriously, I really do. I appreciate it. So
Drinks
thank
are
you.
on Susie.
Yeah, right. Hey, there we
Just
go.
go find the
Right.
pub. Just go find the pub, and we'll be there.
Right. No, but seriously, thank you very much. I really appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Absolutely,
I'll
absolutely.
continue to do my hardest.
All right, and then moving on. So we're at the public comment section. I don't know. I know when we did this online, we had folks. You know, when we were on Zoom, you know, people. Are we still doing that? Where you have them? So we don't have.
No, but this wonderful camera over here. This is our Facebook Live camera. So we are
Okay.
we are streaming live.
Okay.
And this
Oh,
will
dear.
and Jim works. No, that's not this one.
No,
No.
you told me not to Facebook this time.
Oh, not Facebook.
Oh.
But this does get this
Recorded.
This
This
does
is
get recorded and it
goes
does
to
get
YouTube,
posted. So
it gets posted to the
yeah,
city.
sorry.
To our.
We've changed things around a few times, right? In terms
If you
of
want it Facebook, that's easy to do, let me know.
all right. So
Technology.
Yeah, right. I know we've changed it around, so I can't always
Right.
keep it straight. But so it's recorded and it does get posted on the city's YouTube page.
All right. Well, any still a public comment? I mean,
I
Can-
believe as part of Open Meetings Act, you have to have public
yes.
comment.
Yeah.
I just have a few things. It's great that there are activities happening again. I'm glad to hear that. I'm just wondering, how are you involving residents? I didn't hear any piece about residents. I don't know how, you know that you would be meeting the needs of the residents and what residents are looking for. You know, with a lot of young families, we have seniors, we have singles, so, you know, we could meet with residents to find out what they're
Yeah,
looking.
we've done so. The boys and I have gone. You want to address them?
No, we're taking her questions, right?
Oh, okay.
So
Yep.
residents.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
How are we
Okay.
meeting residents' needs?
Okay. Also, the banners, are those for residents or are those for non-residents? It seemed like for a while that the things that were going on were marketed to non-residents, not necessarily residents. So I'm not sure, I'm not sure what the focus of the banners are. Also, you do talk about involving other residents. This one I was wondering, what does the partnership look like? What does a business do to have their logo included on the flyers? I saw a flyer for the block party, and Boys to Men logo is in the know. Detroit Selfie Museum. What does a business do to be included on that, where they're receiving advertising? And let's see. And are you soliciting other partners? Because it seems to be it's the same groups over and over. Let's also. You talked about the Boys to Men, the young men. How are they compensated? It seems like they do a lot of things that said they were volunteers, but how you know, how are they compensated? What does that arrangement look like? And then the raise, I guess I just wanted to express some concern considering the DDA and the city, we both are in deficits with our expenditures over revenues. And a 5% raise was just given, so, and then I was just wondering what comparison salaries were looked at, like-sized communities and, you know, that kind of thing. So, that's it. And what is the avenue for getting answers to the questions?
Yes.
I mean, these
Thank
are,
you. Yeah.
These are questions that we can delve into, comments that we can delve into in our committees, in the committees that that you know that these pertain to, right? Not some of these are within, you know, go for EV, some are for promotions, and we can certainly delve into those and make sure that we're addressing those, your comments in those committees, and, you know, move forward.
Okay, I would appreciate some of the answers too. I mean, I know it's an interesting situation where DDA has taken over duties of the Parks and Rec Department, and, you know, your focus is businesses and Parks and Rec is residents, and so trying to meld those things together, I know isn't an easy thing, but I feel like, you know, residents are being left out of some processes, and so, you know, I think it's really important that the residents in the community kind of dictate what, you know, they would like their events and things to look like.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you. Anything further? Obviously, no one in here for any additional comments. Anything else for the good of the order?
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Yay.
All right. Sure
I'll
adjourn.
second that.
All right. Supported. We're adjourned.
All right.